Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, and today's topic is called Sky Shifting. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening April 16th through the 20th, 2021. And this is an alternate cover slide I was toying with. This is a really interesting scene that will pop up later in the show. And before we get into the sky observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobronia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, and guten dag. And today's starter image is of more blue iris plants in Miami, Florida. I did cover them on another show, a previous show, but I had a single bloom, and just recently a couple of twin blooms came up together. It was really beautiful. All right, now before we get into the show, I'd like to say a heartfelt thanks for being here and a hearty welcome to you all. If you are returning, thank you. And if you're new, thank you. And if you are new, I refer to things going forward in the slides as original photos or enhanced photos. When I say enhanced, I simply mean I've edited attributes of the photo, such as color, saturation, brightness, or contrast, things of that nature, just to better draw out and highlight areas of interest in any given photo. I'll also drop in some letters just to help orient us within the photo, and just it's usually flagging just the most prominent or kind of key elements in any given photo. There's going to be a lot more going on than I can get to sometimes, so if you see something and you'd really like to see it enhanced and called out in the future, just let me know in the comment section below. All right, so we're going to get going, and I'm going to explain a few other things in general coming up in some other slides in a second. But for now, we're just looking at an overall scene. Just a lot of strange movement going on, some shapes. This looks like a imprint of a triangle happening in here and another one happening over here. So we're going to look at this with some enhancement. And I couldn't really get to them not too much better, but you can just kind of see some darker areas that do look like they have triangular forms to them. And that's just strange because it's amidst all of this other kind of turbulent and swirling and, activity just moving all over the place. And this is very low in the altitude, and so it's just strange that we've got movement going up and opposing angle here. It just, just the scene just definitely caught my attention. Then we're going to look at a few moments later, and this is all at a sunrise right now. This caught my attention over here because we have some brighter points popping up, and then we have a pure spherical form happening over here at letter A, and then we have these other just kind of lighter clouds strewn across in different patterns. So just thought, let's just take a look, and of course, with enhancement, a whole new world opens up of what's going on. So we still have these points intrigue me because they're pretty regularized, and they're happening in the same line, and so I think that is an overall cloaking craft. And this sphere is also some type of interdimensional object or cloaking object. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back, and when I say cloaking and cloaking craft, and actually the overall, all the titles, I'm going to say strange cloud activity in quotes, and the cloud in quotes implies that there's cloaking material and cloaking activity going on in the sky. When I say cloaking material, I'm referring to something like plasma, something that's denser and hangs in the sky. It's not just water vapor that it evaporates quickly or like is in a cloud form. It's a little bit heavier. And so also when I say cloaking craft, it can be something interdimensional, very ethereal, ephemeral, phantom-like this thing is starting to look like. Or it can be something 3D solid. You can knock on it. It's very tactile. You could touch it. Or it could be something 3D that's phasing in and out of state. So that's what I'm referring to going forward. Anyhow, this really looks interesting, so we're going to go explore that a little further. Also, by the way, all of this is looking very interesting down here below as well. But here we go. We're going to go to 8.2, and there's that sphere and these brighter points. We're going to look at it with some enhancement. You start to see that's a pure ball, looks like to me. And then we have a interesting, it looks like an indentation or a darker area within that sphere or ball, and I see a little highlight edge, so I'm going to say that looks like it's indented, an indentation. It also looks like it has a shape. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like a hexagonal shape in there, but let's try to look at it a little bit more. We're zooming yet and again, and then again. So that's about the best I could do with my camera phone. But we have, you start to see that indentation I was talking about within the sphere, so a shape within a shape. Just very odd. All right, then we're going to go to more oddities, and this is now looking southeast. And just we have these strange standalone shapes. They might be a part of a bigger installation or bigger assembly of a cloaking craft. I'm not sure yet. So that we're, because of that, we're going to jump over here and look at the enhanced version to the right. Now look at this. Let's see. We're going to jump down to the bottom. C.1, that looks like it has dimension to it and shadows. And then we get to B.1 going up. We got some weird activity. It looks like it has things also with shadow, these points. Something here too. And then 8.1 just overall is a strange shape. And then D, there'll be something that will pop up later. We'll look here first for now. And just look at 8.2. It just was a strange standalone form if it was to be a cloud. 8.3, we see a little bit of highlight areas in it. 8.4, I removed the color just to see if we could see it in a different way any better. And all I can do is just see that it just looks like something that doesn't, really look like a cloud any way you slice it. All right, then we're going to go to this overall scene looking east-northeast now, still at the same sunrise. And in this case, we have what looks like an imprint, a triangular imprint forming at letter A. Imprint just means this, void shaped by either cloud material or plasma. And it just kind of stands out sometimes. If you've looked at some of my other shows, you'll see what I'm talking about a little bit better. But you'll see it in the enhancement coming up as well. And then we have looks like another triangular imprint happening over here. That was that weird little puff we were looking at earlier. And here we go. So now we start to look at this dark shadows. Definitely has a triangular form. Might even be a triangle superimposed over another triangle. So this could also just be some cloaking material. And this here where my cursor is going might be the imprint itself of a cloaking object or an imprint. And the imprint could be an object or could also be a void, so like a portal or some type of sensor tech equipment or something interdimensional we just don't understand. That's what I'm going with these days. And then here we have B.1. This is a really straight line, and this is coming down to another triangular form. So I think these are cloaking objects. All right, now here is zoomed in on that bottom part. Actually, I'm going to hop back to the other photo. So we're going to look down here at C.1 at the bottom of that photo and come into C.2. We're zooming in a little just to see what else we can find. D, there's an object that seems to pop up here. There's these little white points too that usually imply something is cloaking or some type of advanced tech happening. And C.3, I'm just still, in D.1, still trying to get at what could be going on in here. I'm not really finding too much. And look at this. We've got these strange bands of beamed, light coming up from presumably behind this cloud activity here. And then we're going to zoom in further to D.2, and it's just looking like an object to me. And again, we have these strange bright white points amidst a darker color. So whenever I see that, that tells me that's pieces of a cloaking object popping out, or it's starting to emerge from this heavier cloaking material, or, it's some other type of little objects. All right, now we're going to look at a triangle imprint forming here, and we're going to look at areas A, B, and C on it. And here we go with some enhancement. We have clear edges, and then we've got this weird little object again at C.1. Looks like it's zooming this way with some trail behind it. This too down here looks like it's something moving in this way with a trail behind it. So is this overall triangular imprint portal or something that they're coming, into, or is this a cloaking object? That's, my question of the day. And here something is interrupting this too. So where we have this coming down, this plasma cloaking material, we have this darker void interrupting it. So something very interesting is happening in this scene. Is this kind of like a little highway that things move in and out? It looks like a little object here as well. These are just little questions I'm posing. Obviously we can't prove anything at this moment, but there's definitely enough going on in here to ask some very valid questions. Oh, and as I go forward, pardon my voice, I'm operating on like 3 hours of sleep, but I wanted to get this show out. Okay, now we're going to zoom in on that C.2 area and look at more enhancement, and here we go. This is very curious because it's got a repeating pattern that's, the same shape, this kind of semicircular curve, and it looks like there's some tufted plasma material. I always say that when an object is cloaking, you can just see it bunched up in areas, this extra cloaking material, like either at the corners of an object or along the edges, and it's just very, kind of telling to me that that's some type of cloaking object. Anyway, I couldn't get to too much more than that, again, because of the camera phone that I'm working with, but we're doing what we can and we're seeing some interesting stuff. Okay, now this is strange cloud activity at morning. This is looking to the east, but later in the morning, obviously. So we're just going to look at A, B, C, and D. Now C right away, I see a triangular form, or this is a bigger triangular form. So we're going to hop over to the enhanced version, just see what we see. 8.1, I think I just flagged because this was just a strange shape, coming down here, and this little bit coming down here off of it. Just really weird. I mean, that's no typical cumulus cloud. After living on this planet for decades, I've never seen cloud formations like I've been seeing in the last couple of years especially. B.1, this looks like in the makings of a triangle here. And C.1 again, just see this point, this shape, this could be an overall bigger shape or a couple of triangles. I'm not too sure about that, but see what you think. All right, here we're just looking at a strange cloud activity. This started billowing in, kind of forming on the spot. Had a very different character and nature, obviously, as this stuff here, and it was very low. And what was strange is it started to have like two rectangular tabs or forms at the end of it with a notch in the middle. So we're going to look at that with enhancement, and you see it a little bit better. Look how straight these edges are, all of these edges. They're like pure rectangles or squares, and then there's an edge on this thing. So anyway, that looked very and felt very artificial. I think there was something cloaking up in there. And then we have this strange thing. It looks like an imprint forming because we've got these little tufted white points of like a plasma material. And it looks like an elliptical imprint to me. So I'm going to say there's definitely cloak and craft going on up in the sky. All right, then we're going to look southwest toward the afternoon. This was just really odd. These clouds, again, just impromptu, very spontaneously pop up to cover the sun in the sky. And I use the sun in quotes, and I use that term loosely, because if you look at some of my other shows, I go over the idea that this is an artificial sun or solar simulator that's in front of our original sun, and it's all tech. So I'm not going to repeat that here, but go ahead and look at previous shows such as The Sun Is Not Alone, Objects and Illusions, or Illusions and Objects, something like that. And as I always say, please go look on YouTube at other Earth and Sky watching channels. That it's just people like me going out and directly observing all the oddities happening in the skies. Now this gets interesting and supports the idea of an artificial sun, because you look at, and when I say artificial sun, if you've noticed in the past 5 to 10 years especially, the sun just is white now. It's not a warm yellow glow like it used to be. Had a very healing quality to the light. Now it's a very radiating, burning, almost like a microwave on the skin. It's very different. And in that sense, the color temperature or the warmth of the cool or warm temperature of the light is very different too. So it's very white and more blue-white in that direction and less of the warm yellow glow. So if we look at area B, you can just see that. It looks like a very artificial, glaring white color compared to what's going on back here when I've put enhancement on it. So that implies there are two very different light sources happening. So I think there's one in the front that's obscuring something else in the back, and that's why we get this warm red, pink signature happening beyond as well. Do look at the description box below to see what could also be causing that red-pink color. There's many, many theories out there. All right, so we're going to look at this overall strange, just look how strange the overall cloud, quote-unquote, cloud formation is. We've got what looks like a very solid rectangle here at A. This also has some, more direct lines to it. B, C, and D we're going to look at with enhancement because that's when things pop out. So B, we've got this weird hook-like shape, this semicircular shape with some balls like at the ends of this half ring. And that's very white and almost crystalline in nature. And do look at my other shows too about what I talk about with crystalline forms. And when we see bright white popping up, when it's a sea of one color, either gray or color, we get pure white. That always grabs my attention. Something's happening. Also, this looks like disturbed plasma activity, like something's in motion here. Same thing here at C.1. It looks like a backward C right now, but it's also got that kind of trailing plasma with different density than everything else happening beyond it. And then we have D.1, which gets really interesting. This looks like a pipe. This looks like a pure square or rectangular form. This also looks like there's some pipes or something extending this way. And what I've been observing, and this looks like a triangle, hidden behind here with some cloaking and puffing stuff coming out. I'm led to believe I've seen enough of these pipes and cylinders popping out that I think I've caught that this is something that's creating this artificial cloud material that does just spontaneously pop up sometimes. I think that's what we're glimpsing. That, or it's just a craft, hiding in behind the cloud. So we're going to look at that a little bit closer at D.2. You see a pipe or a cylinder, And this thing is still there, very bright. Again, we've got darker color around it, but these objects really pop out. Then B point 2, we're just looking again at these forms in C point 2. Okay, now we're going to look at A as the moon, upside down, very odd for this time of day at 4:30 in the afternoon, and just some weird cloud activity. So we're going to just take a little look. I don't see too much more happening in here. I think that's going to be a bird or an insect. Nothing to really see there. But this overall thing is just strange. The consistency, the motion coming down on angle. You know, in days of yore, we would just have cumulus clouds coming across very predictably in a horizontal pattern, you know, just blowing across. And here we've got this. So this is just totally different from skies of the past. And this starts to look like an imprint happening in here too. I see a sharp diagonal edge here in a darker form. All right, here we go. Left is the original, right is enhancement. And this is just looking at A, B, and C, just all the totally different character of quote-unquote clouds happening in the same vicinity. C.1 looks like a strange imprint forming back here. I don't know what this thing is happening, doing its own thing here. Obviously, this is just not typical clouds. Even the consistency of this is kind of ragtag, very unorganized. And then this becomes mist-like. So we're going to look at 8.1, I think. Nope, we're not. Sorry. We're going to go to a new scene. I'm jumping around. Sorry, again, no sleep. I'm sleep deprived of today. Anyway, we're going to go to this other scene now. Southwest, looking to the southwest at sunset. Sorry. So we've got this strange artificial cloud just popped up out of nowhere. And we see this very artificial looking white sun in the background. We've got strange movement going this way. A more billowing activity here, even though albeit artificial. And we've just got some strange little things happening all over the place. So we're going to look to the right at the enhancement, and we're going to look at 8.1 is where this quote-unquote sun is. 8.2, we're going to zoom in there. We've got some strange red-pink color signature happening around it. B.1 just looks like an odd triangular form, so I'm going to say that's like a cloaking object in there. C.1 also, it's like a darker form. There's something strange happening here at D.1. This is all strange down here too, so you can't tell me this is normal cumulus cloud activity. It's not. This also actually looks like a triangular form hiding back in there. And then we're going to zoom in on that lower portion, so just look at these strange things. And here we've got a near right angle. It's a little bit of an acute angle. We've got, looks like a triangular chunk form next to it. B2 looks like something's happening in there with a little more density behind the cloaking material. And then D.2 is also looking like strange objects. Now this looks really strange. D.2 is actually referring to this. It looks like we have a ring here, like the end of a pipe or tube. So, you know, your guess is as good as mine as what's going on in that scene. See what you think about that. I'm jumping on to the next one. So now we're looking in a different area of town. This is looking south at 6:15 in the evening. And this is just a small one-story structure down here, just to give you an idea that these things are pretty low. And this, again, artificial cloud just kind of popped up out of nowhere because that's not normal clouds. And then why is this on a sharp angle at B and this thing going more horizontal, doing its own thing? So as you can see, I've ladened this photo with a ton of letters. Let's take a look with enhancement. So let's start at A. So we've got this strange, odd man out. Looks like it almost jetted off of this thing. Then we've got F. I'm going to jump around, not in order, not sequentially. This is a harder line that looks like it has dimension to it. C.1, this is just a strange shape sitting in there. G.1 looks like there's a very distinct form happening beyond here. And some of these other letters we're going to look at better with enhancement. So here we go. E.2, it just looks like something darker is lurking beyond. In some of this, we start to see not too much more over here per se. But we look down here and we start to see F.2, that element popping a little more into more focus. And then just, we're looking at the silhouettes of how do we have this thing going off on angle this way with very straight lines, and then this thing more horizontal, and then this doing totally random things. I got to say that's some type of cloaking activity, definitely artificial cloud. So we're going to zoom in and look at this a little bit more with just some different enhancement just to see a little shape hiding in there. See what you think with what's going on with this overall scene. Then I'm going to just zoom in on that weird little A element with this B portion. Looks like there's some type of cloaking material or mist happening off of the whole body of this thing. So we're going to look at it with some enhancement one more time on this overall scene. And we see like a trail of what I think is plasma or a heavier material than water vapor, that's for sure. And it's just strange, this relationship. It almost looks like this thing broke off of here and is going up or, going up this way. I don't know. Say what you think. It's all very strange. This is, speaking of more strange cloud activity, now we're moving to another part of town nearby, but looking east. And this felt more than looks. It just felt very, very odd. And the more I looked, you see a sharp edge here of a triangle. Look at these notches in it, totally straight and parallel. And then you have another straight angle here, so I'm assuming there's another triangular form in here. And then something really weird emerging here. The overall thing looked like a triangle with a belled or a bowed edge at the bottom with something else emerging. So you better believe we're looking at this with enhancement. So here we go. And this is actually on the cover. So it starts to look like a form in and of its own right with a triangle superimposed behind it. This is still holding true as triangular. And then we're going to zoom in. Look at this. We've got a rim, looks like a hole. We've got a shiny part that looks like it's reflecting off of light. And then here, this is still looking triangular in the background to me. Then we've got this edge. This is a triangular form. And we've got these things. I don't even know what they are. I don't know if that's a void of the light cracking in from behind, or if these are standalone objects, which I think this one is. I'm not sure about this. Then we're just looking at it with a little bit different, taking all color and warmth out of it, just to see if we see anything new by doing that. And you just see a little, stuff looks like it's trailing out of a hole with a rim at the bottom of this thing. Again, see what you think, but I'm calling that hands down some type of UFO. It's an object. And it's also, by the way, blocking the sun or artificial sun behind it. And here's one more look at it. We're going to look at AA and BB, 2 elements. So again, just the AA part is this whole thing. Look at it, looks like it's got some cloaking, disturbed cloud around it. And then BB.1, again, we just see this clear triangular form. Then we're going to zoom in even more, one more time, I think. It might be one more after this, I'm not sure. And again, just looking at this disturbed activity with that weird object, it's kind of fading now. And again, this really straight line with these notches in it. Okay, that was it for that one. But now we're going to jump to another scene. This is going back to a sunrise, looking east, and just the overall, character of the atmosphere just seemed disturbed. Seems like we have a triangular imprint, a symmetrical form going up on an angle this way. This is fuzzy, like it's something that could be cloaking in here. Then we've got this weird hole-like thing happening in here, and this swooping around it. I don't know, it's really bizarre. So we're going to look to the right. Here we see like a very pronounced V form. And again, like a hole, like this is some type of, I don't know what kind of, like a tube. See what you think is going on. And then I'm just noticing down here, this looks like a face emerging, like 2 eyes, the bridge of the nose, and shadow, and a mouth. That's what I see. Anyway, see what you see. If you see anything fun, as always, or fantastical, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below just for fun. All right, then we're going to zoom in on that little pipe type thing. And it gets a little bit mappy now, but I was just trying to see if there's any more clarity that we could have. And look at this roundish shape at the bottom, and then this swath of, void going around it too, echoing the same curve. I mean, this is something. I can't tell you, unfortunately, what it is. But again, maybe you can see it more clearly than I can, and you can let me know in the comment section below. All right, this is one more scene. We're looking to the left, the original, right enhanced. And this caught my attention because this was just overall odd that we have these streaks, one kind of form of cloud, quote-unquote cloud material, and then the choppy pattern in here, which I call staccato, when it gets really choppy and low and fuzzy. And so now I'm looking on the left photo, and I almost see like a ring, like this overall thing is a ball shape, and that this is cloaking. I think it's several layers of cloaking material. Then we have this crescent shape, quote-unquote cloud, and a triangular piece over here, and then this is starting to look like an imprint. So let's look to the right, and you can see 8.1 is the imprint. So it's dark, it's got a shape to it beyond. Looks like there are other shapes layered beyond this cloaking material, I'm going to call it, because this isn't natural cloud. And look at the angle that it's on, it's not even horizontal. Anyway, we've got that going on, so this imprint going on, and this crescent going on. Looks like something else is happening in here. So there's all kinds of strange in this photo. Have a look and enjoy, and again, let me know if you find anything new that I didn't touch on in there. We're going to zoom in on it, and again, we've got this triangular little piece, a little triangular piece here, this hooked crescent, and then you can see this rounded portion below. We'll look at it with some enhancement. It's better. You can see this line forming a curve, and it's going in and behind all of this stuff. And so that's an imprint of some type. And again, I don't even know what's happening with this one at B.3. See what you think. Oh, but look over here. It starts to look like another object popping up back there. Very odd, very interesting scene. All right, well, this is the photo of the week and the end of the show. Thank you for hanging out here a while. We have a blue and gold macaw, another one in a park in Miami. And I just want to say, have a gorgeous week ahead and beautiful now. And I wish you tremendous love and peace. Lavender Sky Panther, bye.